Welcome back, fans, to another edition of the ECHL Insider. I'm your host, Garrett Hunter. And yes, we had our first few teams clinch the playoffs last week. Very exciting. And if you want to know what's in common with all the teams in front of me, those are all the teams that clinched the playoffs. It is Toledo, Trois-Rivières, Florida, South Carolina, and Jacksonville. All have locked up a playoff spot. Only one playoff spot left to be clinched now in the South Division, and we're not even into April yet. Kind of crazy. And if the Solar Bears take care of business their next two games, they could lock up the playoff spot, that final playoff spot in the South Division, meaning a whole division will be locked up before we get to April. Kind of crazy to think about, but that is where we are in a lopsided South Division this season. Well, with that playoff update, we will get you to some scores from last week's games before we join back in on the playoff race with our top 5 games of the week. Well, it was the South Carolina Stingrays continuing their win streak with a 4-1 dominating victory on Sunday against the Jacksonville Icemen. They have a now 8-game win streak right now, and for a team like South Carolina, you've already clinched the playoffs. You want to stay hot going into the postseason, and that is exactly what they're doing in Low Country right now. Very impressive from the Stingrays. And the Kalamazoo Wings in the thick of it in that Central Division for a playoff spot. Likely, if they get it, they'll play the Walleye. And what a performance on Sunday. 5-0 blowout win for the Wings at home. Definitely something to get the fans smiling after they lost in a shootout the night before. And definitely a crucial win when you factor in the opponent. If they make the playoffs, very likely they're playing the Walleye. So just a great victory. Definitely want to keep that tape if you're the head coach of the Kalamazoo Wings. And the Norfolk Admirals and Worcester Railers had a nail-biter on Friday night. 6-5 OT winner for the Railers. And that's the film that you want to throw out if you're the goalie coach of either team. Just a lot of goal scoring. Really fun to watch that one, but it came down to the end, and the Railers were able to get 2 critical points in the North Division. Well, that will bring us now to our top 5 games of the week. A lot of playoff implications on the line, a lot of points out there to get this week. So we will start at number 5 with the South Carolina Stingrays and Jacksonville Icemen going at it again, a home-and-home Saturday and Sunday. They'll start in Jacksonville and then go to South Carolina for Sunday afternoon again. Just really impressed with the Stingrays, the composure that this team has showed down the stretch. We just mentioned they've won 8 straight games. They've clinched a playoff spot, but Jacksonville's also clinched a playoff spot. So these teams right now only playing for positioning, seeding in that South Division, and also to go into the postseason with momentum. And that's crucial. You know, some people will say, hey, the team that ultimately wins it all, they're the team who goes into the postseason on the hottest streak with the most momentum to carry them through the hard months like May, June, and the end of April. So very important for both these teams to get a very hard win on back-to-back nights if you're South Carolina or Jacksonville. And at number 4, a possible preview of a first-round playoff Mountain Division game, the Tulsa Oilers and Tahoe Night Monsters from the BOK Center in Oklahoma. Friday and Saturday, this should be a really good matchup. 2 teams that appear as though they will meet in the first round of the Kelly Cup playoffs. Definitely that could change depending on the teams around them and how Tahoe and Tulsa finish their seasons out. But this is just 2 crucial games. You know, nothing short of that. If you see a team, you know they're going to be a playoff team, but you could see them as early as the first round, you really want to key in on the details. Really want to key in on, hey, how does this team play? How do they forecheck? Just the very detail-oriented team wins these 2 games, and they gain valuable knowledge on their possible first-round opponent. And at number 3, an even more likely first-round playoff matchup, the Fort Wayne Komets and Iowa Heartlanders. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from Coralville. 2 really good teams that have really impressed me this season, who have just played just consistent, just good hockey this year. Iowa, they've taken a lot of penalty minutes. That hasn't really affected them too much at this point in the season in in third place in the Central Division, but they want to focus on these games against the Comets at home. This is, again, we just talked about it. When you're seeing a team who's a playoff team who you could see in the first round, you got to look at the details of how this team plays. The details are what win playoff games, what win playoff series ultimately. So definitely scouting the competition in this Comets Heartlanders game. They want to know each other well so that they are very well prepared come the third week of April. And at number 2, the Trois-Rivières Lions and Worcester Railers. I know this is getting kind of repetitive, but this could be a first-round playoff matchup as well. Worcester, though, in a tight playoff race with the Reading Royals for 4th place. Trois-Rivières clinched a playoff spot, looking great in first place in the North. So they go on the road to Worcester for a Saturday and Sunday back-to-back. Should be just really good, right? Worcester, not only do they need these points, but they want to beat Trois-Rivières. I mean, if they're making the playoffs, they're probably playing the Lions. So again, you want to know the opponent. You want to know the details, everything you can learn about these two teams. And for Worcester, not only that, but you have to get points out of these two games. You have to get points, keep pace with Reading. They are even in points right now in the North Division. You have to get points out of each weekend in a tight playoff race like that. So Railers will be looking to do that at home this weekend. And at number 1, the Kalamazoo Wings and Bloomington Bison tied for 4th place in the Central Division for that 4th and final playoff spot. They will meet on Friday night in Grosinger Motors Arena in Bloomington, Indiana. This should be a really great playoff matchup. This will have that playoff feel to it. I can guarantee it. I mean, two teams that absolutely need points. A devastating blow if either of these teams fall in regulation. So also keep that in mind, these two teams. If this game is tied in the third period, look for teams to get kind of conservative in a sense that they have to get this game to overtime. You cannot lose in regulation to a team that you're tied for 4th place against, especially in the standings like this. And it's so crowded in the Central Division. Cincinnati and Indy right on their tails. They have to get these points and cannot lose in regulation. Should be a really good game, but with that playoff feel, it's just going to have just a whole new look to it. Just a great atmosphere and just a great experience for first-year ECHL fans like Bloomington fans we'll get to witness on Friday night. Well, now make sure to check out our Fight of the Week. Another great scrap for you there. And we will be back next week to update you on the playoff race as we draw closer and closer to the end of the regular season.
All the way over there now. We go. And here we are, you're right. And it's going to be Cameron Knoll. If he can get his gloves free there, finally, he's going to go down to one knee, and they got to get in there and break that one up. He never really got a chance.
Well, he was coming in because
Connors
had taken a run at one of